Burying Lane Park on Garfield Avenue is the largest, newest, and perhaps the most expensive park in Jersey City.
Yeah.
Well, it gives residents in the southern portion of the city a park that rivals Pershing Field in the north. Some residents believe the city may have neglected smaller parks when steering money to Berry Lane. Is this an issue? How would your administration go about upgrading all the parks throughout the city?
Who's first? Me.
Yeah.
So we take a great deal of pride in completing Berry Lane Park. It was a park that started under Schundler, continued to be at Cunningham, continued to be at Healy, and then we reallocated dollars in order to finally complete that. We don't like having things half done. We like finishing them, and that was our commitment towards Berry Lane Park. And I'm proud of that because the south side of the city deserves a completed world-class park, and we're going to continue to add to it next year with a skate park and the gazebo facilities and restrooms. Now, regarding the future parks, we were also at the forefront of renovating a lot of pocket parks in the city. We were at the forefront of pushing for a dedicated revenue source that the voters approved last year, which is a surcharge on your taxes dedicated to open space. And we have a great working relationship with the Parks Coalition where they set the agenda over the next 4 years and the next year on which parks to get done. So I think we have a good track record on this. It's the reason that we were endorsed by the New Jersey League of Conservation Voters, which is one of the most environmentally conscious organizations in the country. And they pointed to the focus on open space over the last 4 years as one of the core reasons why.
This makes me start out by reflecting on my role as corporation counsel. There's no doubt that I was a senior advisor to Healy, both politically and it was not more than just your typical corporation counsel. But there are a lot of things that I wasn't that involved in. Just is the truth, and I didn't get everything I wanted done. Including in parks, but in parks I sort of had an outsized thing, partially because I'm sort of a park nerd and I love parks. I have sort of an obsession with them, and certain things just fell into my lap sort of as ancillary result of other engagements. So Berry Lane Park, for example, we were involved in legal actions to get PPG to clean up chromium contamination, and we got money for that, and there was people in the JCRA who were really spearheading Berry Lane Park. And you know, to the extent Schundler got the ball to the 5-yard line and Cunningham brought it to the 10, I would say in the Healy administration maybe it was brought to the 15 or 20, and the Fulton administration put it into the goal line. And I give credit for the mayor, and I didn't blame him for redirecting funds, even though there are other parks that have definitely not come to fruition. You know, there was a parks master plan that was implemented with a lot of public input that saw the complete makeover of parks from Hamilton Park downtown to Ursula Webb Park to Bayview Park in Greenville. There was a lot of progress on Muhammad Ali Park in Greenville, a lot of progress, and some of the stuff, you know, went by the wayside. You know, Fulton Avenue Park, which I once led a bike tour of parks, and I took people to that and I said, this isn't a shame, an outrage, and this is like year 6 in my 8-year, 9-month term. And we can't stand for this. And part of it was to like push Healy and say, you know, we got to get this thing done quickly. Just like I pushed him on the reservoir. I said, we got to set this thing aside for open space. This is, you got to go in there and walk through it. It's amazing. And he did. Fulton Avenue fell aside. The mayor did a thing where he said he's going to bring it up, and I think I'm being cut off. So, up to you.
Look, I'm happy you said you're a senior advisor. It's a point I've been making, but the reality is that I think that we have a great track record in the last 4 years. I think that whether it's dedicating revenue, whether it's renovating parks, whether it's completing parks that are significant in size, is important, and I'm proud of that, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years and continuing it. It's a crucial part of Jersey City, and I also point out that we also led the charge on pushing back on privatization of Liberty State Park, partnering with Sam Pessin and some of the groups on that as well. So, you know, I think our track record of the last 4 years is very strong, and we'll continue that.
I got a rebuttal. So yeah, never would shy away that I was a senior advisor, and let's talk about the parks. We have a robust park plan to reigniting a master plan that sets the stage for constant, incessant, perpetual renovation and rehabilitation of existing parks, fulfilling the vision of the new parks in Jersey City, whether it's the embankment, finishing up the reservoir and the heights, and bringing about the Skyway Park, which the mayor voted for everything on that. It's sort of stalled, God willing, regardless of who wins. That will come to conclusion. It's actually the biggest municipal park, although it's not being used, and connecting the waterfronts through a series of greenways, I think is something we should commit to, get it done. There's visions out there for it, and that would take our really, really good park system and make it elite.
Looking ahead to the next generation, what will Jersey City look like in 10 or 20 years? Where are we starting with, Mr. Matsakudis?
I think it has a lot to do with this election. I think that the mayor has not embraced a lot of the stuff that we're trying to push for in affordable housing. And let's make no mistake about it. There are people who left Jersey City back in the 60s and the 70s because they didn't want to live there anymore. People are leaving today because they can't afford it anymore. It's a fact. I meet them all the time. And I welcome newcomers. I think that they bring some amazing energy and revenue and great stuff, and I like the diversity in community, economic diversity as well as racial, ethnic, and religious. But we can't let that change take place because people can't afford to live here. So we need to make some changes that are real changes in a paradigm shift, a change in the way we operate. And this is not a casting blame situation. Some of the stuff is happening organically because of real estate markets and shifts and changes in taste that people want to live in cities again. This is not casting blame, but the real thing is, what are we going to do going forward? In other words, affordable housing as it was done over the years, for example, and there was a lot built over the years in Jersey City, and some of it was because even suburbs were pushing their affordable housing into Jersey City back in the day, and they would give money to developers to build it in Jersey City. We need to create more affordable housing. We need to make sure that the thousands of people who live in buildings that have no rent stabilization get that changed, and until that happens, more and more people are going to be leaving. So I think that Jersey City can be, the mayor likes to say the best mid-sized city in America. He's saying I guess he still says that. Healy used to say, Alexander Hamilton talked about a great city on the west side of the Yeah, we've got some amazing blessings, and it's a great place to live, and it will be because we've got beautiful architecture, great proximity to New York. I just hope it's a place that is truly continues to be diverse, both in terms of ethnicity and religion, but also in terms of economics. Because we could be having the same fortune as Manhattan or parts of Brooklyn, which is basically exclusively for the wealthy. Thank you.
I think it also has a lot to do with this next election, and I think that's why we're both looking to be the chief executive of the city for the next 4 years to set that policy. I believe we're on that course to be the best mid-sized city in the country, and that means affordability because we're focused on that. I think also creating a dynamic skyline and business community because we're focused on that. I think arts and culture because whether it be Sci-Tech City investing in science or a new museum in Journal Square, we're finally completing the Lowe's Theater. I think we're focused on that. I think it's bridging the gap between some of the different communities to incentivize development away from the waterfront that didn't exist before. I think it's partnering more with our schools to create a world-class school system that people want to stay in, creating all sorts of opportunities on the education front. So I think we're on a course towards making Jersey City even better than what it is today. Today it's a great place, but it could be even better. And so I think the next 4 years are going to chart that course, and I think the future for Jersey City is very bright.
Rebuttal for 30 seconds.
Yeah, it is a great place, and it could be a lot better. And to almost go back to that first question and this last question is incentivizing development in areas off of the waterfront there's some really good things to it. But just like medication sometimes has unintended consequences, stimulating development in economically challenged areas also does. And that really means that the cost of housing goes up. So every time that happens, I think we have to take a look at what we can do to make sure that we built on a vacant lot. That's a great thing. But all the people's rents in the neighborhood have gone up, and they're leaving. Trust me, my office is at 150 Monticello, and I see it all the time, and all the neighbors know. They're getting pushed out. That's not a good thing, and it's happening now more than ever. We need to change that.
I would just say that, every neighborhood should see investment. No neighborhood likes to be neglected. Prior to 2013, it was very much areas of the city that saw no progress whatsoever. So we have incentivized progress there, which I think is a good thing. Everybody deserves this investment. I'd also point out at the same time that we're focused on affordability, that we've done a lot in the last 4 years because we're conscious of that balance. Is it perfect? No. But we are making tremendous strides forward.
All right, now we have our closing statements. 2 minutes each?
Who went first on the openings?
I think you went first on the openings.
Oh, I did actually, yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
so
I opened first, you opened in second.
you get to close.
Okay. Yes, this election will decide what kind of city we have. And the mayor likes to talk about a track record, and when I look at the track record, I see something different. I see a city where the homicide rate has doubled since the Fulop administration, where relations between the police and the community have plummeted. I see a city where it's become the 5th most expensive place in America to rent a 1-bedroom apartment, and where people are being chased out of the city they love. I see a budget that was increased by 25%, over $100 million, yet we can't do the simple fundamentals of government like keeping our streets clean. We can do a much better job. We need to fundamentally change the way policing is done in Jersey City. We need to implement community policing, pursuant to which the police are engaged with the community in a positive way, and change the mindset of the police department from a warrior mindset to a guardian mindset. We need to drastically focus on affordable housing and implement rent stabilization for the thousands of people that don't have it. Require developers to create more affordable housing. We need to cut out the fat in government. You know, the mayor said that he flirted with the gubernatorial race. I would say it was a hot and heavy affair. And if you look at the budget of Jersey City, you can find examples of people that were supporting that effort who still work at City Hall because of helping the gubernatorial ambitions. People who got contracts to the tunes of $500,000. We can do a better job, and we're going to have to reduce our spending in the city, because guess what? An issue you didn't bring up today is the reval. When that reval hits, and the number is going to come out a couple of weeks after the election, a lot of people are going to see a drastic increase. And then they're going to feel the pain of that largesse, the 25% increase. So we could do a better job. We have a plan to get it done. And thank you very much for the opportunity to address you today.
So thank you for having us. I'm not going to say anything negative about Bill, but the only thing I'm going to say is that I disagree on the doom and gloom picture of Jersey City. I think Jersey City has a lot more ways to improve, but we're certainly moving in the right direction, whether it's taxes that have been stable for 4 years, whether it's policing, which has gotten improvements massively, whether it's affordable housing, which we've been focused on, whether it's partnerships with the schools, whether it's a focus on the arts. Look, I'm running for a second term because when we started this journey, we said it would take 8 years. I was very clear about that in 2013, and we're halfway through that process. And so what I'm asking on November 7th is for the voters to allow us to continue what we started. We have made tremendous progress. You can see it when you drive through the city. What we're asking is for the opportunity to continue, and hopefully on November 7th, you'll let Team Fulop vote.
Well, thank you. This concludes our 2017 Jersey City mayoral debate. Once again, I would like to thank the candidates for joining us today, thank reporter Al Sullivan, and thank our publishers, Dave Unger and Lucia Mulatto. Lucia couldn't be here today. It's our belief that such forums are useful to voters and help them make more informed decisions about who they should vote for on Election Day. We encourage residents to register and vote on November 7th. And thanks again for watching, and so long. Keep reading the Hudson Reporter, and check in at hudsonreporter.com several times a day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.